Hello everybody, Nathan here, and today, as you may have guessed from the wiki page I'm at, we're going to be looking at ores. Now, gonna be honest with you, I'm not really too sure about setting them up. Kind of been messing around with it for about an hour now this morning, really not understanding 100% what these different values are changing, so I'm not going to focus necessarily so much on that. It's actually very easy to take a look at the wiki. It gives you all the information you need. It just really doesn't say what it does. So let's take a quick run through. We have our ore types. And now you might be thinking, oh, like different types of metal. No. Well, as the wiki says, what manner the ore is generated in. They're a scatter, which is what you're going to see most of the time. For like charcoal, pretty much everything in the default game uses scatter. Then you have sheet, which, if you imagine like a cookie tray, a sheet shoved in the ground, and all of those ores sitting in that plane, that's pretty much exactly what a sheet does. There's blobs. Think of a blob of clay thrown into like an aquarium, and then chop that up into voxels. Anything with more than 50% of your blob of clay, you turn into the ore. It's pretty much what a blob is. And veins. Veins run like a vein. They pretty much would be like, imagine an ant nest in the ground with all the little tunnels and pathways. And then fill all those tunnels and pathways with your ore. One word to note, though, as it says here, the use of the vein type is about 200 times more computationally expensive than any other ore. So it's going to crank up CPU cycles to use the vein. Here is just a sample example of default stone with coal. This is using the scatter type. I'm trying to do a sheet type for salt for the survival mod that I'm working on. So now that we've gotten the ore types out of the way, let's go on to the next logical step, which is the ore. Your ore is going to be a node that is defined somewhere. Whether you define it in a different file, whatever, you are still doing a normal register node to create your ore. Basically, it's just a node, and that's what's going to be placed as the ore. Wherein, well, what is this ore being placed in? In most cases, you're going to be placing ores in stone. However, you can place them in tree trunks. You can place them in dirt. You can place them in sand. I don't think you can place them in water, but I didn't try that. These values, not too positive on all of them. Cluster size, I mean, that should be the size of the cluster of the ore, but I've tried messing with these, and I can't seem to get any consistent value that makes sense to me. Height minimum and height max, it's the lowest point in the world and the highest point that this ore will be generated between. So if you're making an ore that you want to be difficult to reach, you can put the maximum height something far below sea level, so people have to mine to get it. Then you have noise parameters of an offset, a scale, spread, seed, octaves, and persist. Not too sure what they do. I've tried messing with them. I'm seeing differences, but I can't see like what the differences are doing. So unfortunately, not too much help with that. Let's hop over and take a look at the ore now. As I mentioned before, we are just making a normal node here. The best thing to do, so this will work with any texture packs, is to do the tiles and do it like this. If we are putting it in default stone, let's take the texture for default stone and then put a little caret here, and that is done on most keyboards. Shift and the number 6, put in a caret. You only want one, and then you do your next texture, which should be, oh, did I close that? No, I didn't. Here we go. Textures. Salt ore. That texture should be drawn on a transparent background, and that little caret will just overlay this texture, which looks terrible because it's smoothed, on top of the stone texture. So no matter what texture pack somebody's using, the stone is still going to look normal. Ground content true, groups cracky. You can change that to higher numbers or lower numbers depending on what tools you want somebody to be able to mine it with. Drops, well, whatever ore you're getting is what you should be dropping. And then sound, that's just the default for stone, which is fine. I don't know. Oh, it must be from doing that. So then, now that we did this, now we need whatever we're dropping. Usually you don't drop the block itself, you drop the ore. So let's hop over into our craft items here. We have an ore. So we have, in this case I'm calling it salt lump. Just a description, chunk of salt. Needs an inventory image. Now that you have a salt lump that you picked up, usually you're going to do something with it. I know for a lot of the minerals and metals that you get in-game, you get a lump which you then have to cook to turn into an ingot. In this case, I'm going to make you craft the salt lump into usable salt. So we have survival salt, which is just salts, and an inventory image as well. And then, of course, we need a craft to change from the lump to the non-lump. So here we have a craft. Shapeless, 1 salt lump will give you 9 piles of ground salt. So salt will be relatively inexpensive. You'll just have to find it. And like I said, it'll be used to preserve food and used in some food recipes for my mod in my eventual sub-game. So yeah, let's hop back over into ores here. And you know what? Let us launch Minetest. We're going to create a new world. Name really does not matter. Turn survival on. Now, I have done this a lot of times. Always spawning into the same world, same location. So I know exactly what things look like as far as the terrain goes. And here we see, wow, there is tons of salt. Tons more salt than we probably want. So we're going to exit. Going to actually have to delete the world because, wait for a big reveal, this only happens during the map gen. So I would either have to keep walking further and further away to ungenerated parts of the map, or I would have to not know what I'm doing, which makes it kind of lame. If you did have World Edit on, I believe you can just make the chunk regen. I do not know how to use World Edit. I have never used it, so can't help much there. So here we're going to notice where there used to be salt all over the place down here. Now there's a few long streaks of it in the wall there. And now that was a difference of the Y noise parameter. If we put them all to the same value, we will get, oh, gotta delete that word and make a new one. I should really figure out how to use World Edit. It would make it so much easier doing this. Alright, what do we have now? Seeing salt. There's some saltas. There's some saltas. There's more salt. There's some salt. Okay, let's take a look at how deep this goes into the wall. Give me diamond pickaxe. Anything less than that, if you're going to use the give me command, is just plain silliness. Ooh, wow, okay, this is pretty big here. Very, very large. It's probably a little too much. Already sitting on 40 lumps. Those are going to yield 9 each. That's a little too much salt, I'm thinking. Almost 60 lumps. Alright, let us try and change something here. Well, we can change the cluster size. That should make there be less amounts in each cluster. So let's take a look. Whoa, what is this? You got like a whole line? Alright, it's all over the place. So let's exit. Let's increase the spread, maybe. Theoretically, the larger the spread is, the less frequently we should find the ore. Whoops. I don't know what that is, but I don't want that. Let's see what we're looking at now. Well, that little bit that was in the wall over there is gone, but that's still here. Let's see what else. Those don't seem to be making too much of a change. Let's change our octaves. No idea what that does, but best way to find out. Oh, gotta delete the world. Best way to find out is just to experiment with it. That's really the only way to make it work exactly as you want. That really doesn't look indifferent. That's still way too much. Okay, let's try one other thing here. Let's try changing the scale. No, that's a multiplication. So if you multiply by 10, are we making the scale larger, or are we making... I don't know, but we're going to find out. Let's see if there's either tons of salt or very little salt. Ooh, hey. Alright, not seeing any. This is good, this is good. Let's, you can't see it yet, but it'll pop up soon. There's a tall mountain over here. There we go. Yes, I have used the same seed for a while now. And oh wait, I think that's a tree over there. Not seeing any salt. This could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing, I'm not sure. Take a quick peek in this little cave here. Let's see. Oh, I don't want that. 99 torches. Let's get some light up in here. Ooh, deep dark holes. Well, then I'd say not seeing any salt. And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I just want to find some salt so I know what kind of clumping we're seeing. Because again, I want salt to be found in chunks, but I don't want it just to be everywhere, because it's too much salt. Well, let's exit to the menu, and let's change our scale to 5. And just... this will be the last time, because I'm sure everybody watching is like, this is boring, dude. So, let's take one last peek. Ooh, some salt. Yes. Of course, it'll be very difficult to reach at that point. I will have the links for the dev wiki for ores and Ruben Wardy's, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, his, what's it even called? His modding guidebook, if we want to call it that. I'll have both of those linked in the description here, so you can take a look at what they're saying as far as ore stuff goes. Fortunately, documentation just seems to be kind of lacking in this aspect. Otherwise, I would know a little more what I'm doing. myself right now. Alright. So we got... This is looking pretty decent. It's exactly what I wanted. It's not super, super common. And that might start to be a little much. It's getting dark in here. Oh, just broke through. 45. Oh, and there's some on this side too. Okay, it might still be set a little bit high. I may need to tweak that a little bit more. But again, nobody wants to watch me tweaking things for a tutorial. You understand the gist of it here. Yeah, this is still way too high for a sheet. I wish the sheet was a little thicker too, instead of just one. Alright, so links for both of the reference sheets, if we can call them that, will be in the YouTube description. Thanks for watching. Sorry it wasn't as informative as some of mine, but I want to say somebody did ask me at one point to do a tutorial on doing ores. So I forget who it was for, but here it is. I know somebody still wants... Oh, wait, maybe it was MapGen. I think it was MapGen, not ores. Yeah, I think it was. Whoops. Well, here was an ore video anyways. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.